So you stumbled upon our podcast.
Hope you got a lighter.
What's up? I'm Lotta Locks.
It's your boy Quise.
Welcome
to Function
to
Podcast. Oh, says you.
Yeah. Yes, we have a script. No, it's not all scripted.
Just that first part.
Yeah, just so we can figure out the flow, make it easier for your listening pleasures. But whatever, laugh with it.
We want to please your ear holes.
So what you smoking on, homie?
So I had to grab a few things. We went to the store yesterday, and 50-fold has always been like a favorite of mine. I really like their crosses, so I kind of went 50-fold crazy. I got the Trapaya from 50-fold. I got the Pink Eye from 50-fold. I got the Delato from 50-fold. And I also have the Gushers from Black Cat. Fucking gas. Big gas.
So you passed off the garlic cane from 50-fold?
I smoked that shit a billion times. Like literally a billion times. And they didn't have garlic cane. They had this and I think 2 other strands, but these look the best. And the Pink Eye, I only got to try a gram of the last time I had it. So I had to grab an 1/8 of it.
It makes sense. It just be low.
I got some gas ass dabs from the homies over at Solstice Labs. Big up, shout out to them.
A word. Well, I guess I gotta figure out my shit then. You know, the competition then. Well, I just finished off the last of some mimosa by Zaz, mostly
Zaz
grow operation. I was up on the north end, so I was like, I'm gonna have to come get some. Plus, it's early in the morning. I figured mimosa's a lovely breakfast strain. I tossed in some garden mix BHO concentrate from the Migos. And then, should this last long enough, I got some great Gabriel pre-rolls. So what I like about them is they knock. Yeah, that's a chocolate.
Yo, I love Gabriel's. Chocolate, my least favorite strain from them.
Why?
And everyone tells me I'm crazy, but I don't know. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, this was the last one there, so chocolate really sells for them.
Yeah, people fucking love it, but I'm just one of those strains where I'm like, whatever.
That's kind of how I feel about ice cream cake in anything.
Well, you gotta have a good ice cream cake, though.
I mean, I've had good ice cream cake. It's like that or a cookies and cream. It's just a
cookies and cream is take it or leave it.
More so than ice cream cake. I agree with you. But they all in the mild, sweet taste. Easy high. Nothing that's going to knock me all the way out. Nothing that's going to take me or send me like some Durban poison. You know what I mean? So
Full send.
How has weed helped you recently?
As we know, I always say it, but I am employed in the cannabis industry, so it helps me pay my bills. Recently, just with reading and research for the shows, it never ceases to amaze me the amount of shit you could learn from weed. I did some research for one of the topics that we're going to talk about later, and it basically was the biggest rabbit hole ever. So I started off just looking at the research aspect, but then my brain started forming questions. Well, what is this, and what would happen if this, and what other components can be used for what? So it just branched off, and I now have a basic understanding of bacteria and how they work, and so that was pretty interesting. Besides that, the overall relaxing part of it, and I've also just recently made my own tincture. The process of making a tincture and then having an end product that I can enjoy on a daily, while I'm at work, actually helps with my blood pressure. So it's all encompassing.
Well, I'm gonna have to try this tincture because I've been interested, but see all the other ones on the shelf. I don't know. It's the having to put it under my tongue, but that's one I've dabbed. I've rolled the dabs. I haven't taken any tablets or tinctures. Those are 2 ways of consuming cannabis.
So the dope thing about tincture, as opposed to an edible, which would be almost the same realm, the reason why you put it under your tongue is because it's it's a thin membrane under the tongue.
Yeah.
And it actually is able to seep through and make its way into the system sublingually. And that's what's dope about it. So it's pretty like fast acting. So it's like you take a tincture, like within minutes, you're feeling it. Very short-lived high, but it could be a very strong onset depending on the strength of the tincture.
And it's called transmucosal. So it's a mucous membrane that's under there. If you have had a cat and had to give them pain medication, that's a common way to give a cat pain medications, because having cats swallow pills are terrible. But just to kind of explain it to folks. But yes, I will be trying tinctures next, and maybe it's some of homie's own tincture.
Yeah.
For me, I wouldn't say that I'm not. I lack courage as a person, but courage in myself. In public speaking, I'm not a public speaking individual. I'd rather be like smoking in the corner or chilling, and then if a lot of people happen to pay attention to what I'm saying, cool. But having a platform like this and talking to people kind of, I don't know, cannabis made it comfortable. Right now it's just me and you speaking, and then a bunch of people hear it later on. It's whatever. But as I'll get into next in cannabis news, I joined the town hall for the LCB board, and thanks to cannabis and just the topic of cannabis and speaking about it here in Washington, I, hopped on 60 people on a call, and I was interacting with them in the Zoom chat, and then I got on video in front of state officials and sort of like chatted with them and questioned them about things that matter to constituents like myself. And I don't think I would have ever done that before in my life had it not been before cannabis being, part of my life and actually caring about the subject of cannabis.
Yeah, it's a different level. It's a different level, like of weed head. when you actually take stand on these issues. And I remember this older cat that I had ran into. He owned a grow shop. I can't remember his name, but we had a crazy debate one day. And he's like, "You young guys have it all messed up. You think being a pothead is just wearing some type of hemp-made clothes and smoking mad weed." He's like, "No, it's also about the activism. It's also about taking a stand for what you believe in, taking a stand for what you stand in. Like, I mean, it's not just smoking weed. Like, since the early days, like smoking has been looked at as like a rebels type of thing. I mean, so if you're smoking, you're an outcast. You are an outliner. Like, so you are forced to take a stand just to defend yourself on a day-to-day. So what he was explaining is like, you have to not only smoke weed, you need to want to cultivate it. You need to want to protect it in every way possible. Like, that's a real true pothead.
Yes. And that's why we are functional potheads, because we step out into the world every single day, fight the good fight, bring home bread as a result of cannabis. But at the same time,
educate people. We spreading that fucking knowledge, B.
Right. And in our free time, it is about, giving back to the greater cause. That's how I spent my day off. It was a 4-hour town hall meeting. And I sat there every minute listening because I wanted to understand. And let's just skip the break and we'll just jump straight into it. So, cannabis news, everybody, come on in. And my subject for cannabis news is the LCB, which is the Washington Liquor and Cannabis Board, hosted several town hall. There were 3 community meetings, and I believe they were all about 4 hours in length, virtually, to discuss the equity task force that had been put together as a result of the recent law passing. And I know we talked about it on a previous episode, and they had to figure out the task force. So what they did to figure that out was give the affected community space to express and discuss what happened to them, share their stories, so that members of the board could, become more aware of the issues and experience of those individuals. In general, that was a great idea. What I didn't enjoy, while they wanted people to talk about the past, they didn't want to hear about how the past meant that their actions messed up my life. They didn't want to hear it like that. They're like, can you just talk about your story, share what's going on? And obviously time conscious, right? So I understand them. And I don't, this is not me bashing them at all. This is just what I felt when I sat there, right?
Which is understandable.
Right. So They introduced the members of the board. They expressed to us that this would be recorded and it's for them to learn. And then I heard something that made me go, So the task force, even though it's developed, it doesn't change the law. It has no ability, that task force has no ability to influence the law that passed that govern this equity program that the LCB is starting.
Mm-hmm.
Can advise officials, right? So what's the point? That was my first thought. What's the point? Secondly, the stories that I heard, some of them were heartbreaking. The issues you faced when applying, the differences in how the applications were spoken to the community, literally the differences in what the application said versus how they carried out the process of deciding who got a license. And this is during the time where Washington went from medicinal to recreational for everybody to figure out what people were talking about, because the Black community got shut out during that opportunity. That we lost a lot of medicinal retail shops as a result. And then Joy Hollingsworth of Hollingsworth Farm, so they're one of the first like Black farms out here.
Yeah.
She came in and I loved her. I loved the way she spoke, and I would love to have her on the show, but it was just very straight to the point. Hey, you're not acknowledging what happened in the past of Washington. And here are the few ways I think you could do better. Boom, boom, boom. Just like really succinct. Like your website, archaic. And you could check out this state's website and this state's website because it's user-friendly and us millennials care about the computer. We want to get it done efficiently. So, hey, fix that problem. And like kept pulling things out at them. And it was like they heard, but I don't know if they really heard the fact that every question they wanted to have or wanted to say that they had was answered in this town hall. And I can't imagine the other two I didn't attend. So I'm hoping that going forward, even though it's a promoted 34 licenses, only 13 of those are actually going to be available to people because the rest are in cities that have moratoriums on cannabis shops. So it's not even fully possible. That was the other thing. That was the second thing that pointed out to me that was like, all right, so y'all still lying. Like you still fucking up.
So they make it seem like there's more licenses that they're going to give
than actually possible.
Because they have to spread said licenses out, but you can't spread them out in areas that won't allow. Linwood has like a moratorium against, but there's certain spots of Linwood that's considered Linwood unincorporated, but it would literally be like a 2-block radius that was unincorporated. Yeah. I think I left just as frustrated. And my question to them, the thing I posed, and I'm thankful that I got the last like 2 minutes because then I was just chatting. I was curious to know whether or not the LCB board was aware of the individuals that are currently running the Washington retail market, the business owners, and how, they are spending their money to prevent the success of this equity task force, which should speak towards the stuff that workers of the industry and individuals that live in the state could attest to, is that racism is all good and well in the state of Washington. It's thriving. It controls things. Like systematically.
Even once you get a license as a Black person, once you get a license as a business, you're granted everything is legal. Some vendors won't sell to you. And that was another man's story. After he talked about his struggle to get to his shop. Now I'm here and I want to connect with people. I want to help people. It was just amazing. Please check out the link. Go tune in to see what was happening. I just think that this was our quick version of what Uprooted did for California, where they talked to actual individuals impacted during that time. You got to just see it happen on a Zoom. And so if you want some comedy, roll up, tune in, and watch that shit.
So what I got, big ups to Virginia, 2 up, 2 down here. They have opened their first cannabis retail store. The name of it is Dharma Pharmaceuticals. Also, following that, the governor, Ralph Northam, he approved a legislation to decriminalize low-level marijuana possession earlier this year. Finally got a signature on it. So that is now in effect. And they are waiting for a decision on the ability to be able to pay, like prepay those tickets. So it like negates the whole court fine system, which puts people in debt. Like you could go in for a simple $50 ticket and end up having a $600 bill after you leave a courthouse. This shit's happened to me twice for grams, a couple grams of weed. Like I had I had to pay these motherfuckers $1,200. And then if you don't pay it, you now have a bench warrant on you. And it's just a cycle in which people, and a lot of people of color get caught up in, because we don't have disposable income to be able to like say, all right, well, I'll pay you guys this fucking $500 right now, $600 right now. A lot of times they want the whole sum right then and there, which is fucking like insane. Like I came to court for a $40 ticket and now I have to pay $640. Ridiculous. Pretty soon, it's looking like it will pass and it will be signed soon. So that will also go into effect. You'll be able to pay prepay online. I haven't found any wording in it, which a lot of states do have, that some X amount of tickets equals a felony or an actual charge. I haven't found any wording. So from what I understand, is just ticketing for it. So big ups to them for that.
Nice.
And in my next, just go through this one real quick. Big ups to DC. The Councilman Robert White is trying to put a bill into place that will allow former felons to be able to participate within the cannabis market there.
What is it out there? Medicinal or rec?
It's legal. It's rec, but they don't have any rec stores, like legal rec stores, as of right now. Those are illicit rec stores.
Oh, and they do delivery too.
Yeah, those are illicit rec stores. So they will be having some legal rec stores coming online soon. But the official way that their rec market was set up was similar to how it's legal in Amsterdam. Okay. So it's legal to possess, it's legal to smoke, but it's illegal to cultivate, it's illegal to sell. So you have to provide a service, and then people pay for that service, and in turn you give them weed as a part of the service that you provide.
Got it.
So
like you came in for counseling, here's 8 grams.
yeah. So the way it was set up was something similar to that, but they will be opening state regulated shops, I believe, this upcoming year. Yeah, so big ups to them. I had to fucking highlight this. They don't call them like felons or like, I mean, anything like that. They have a special phrasing for this that like appears all over the bill. Okay. It is returning citizens. And I thought it was, at first I thought it was like, what the fuck? They're not aliens. Like they've always been citizens. But then Ed broke it down for me, and she's like, no, because when you go to jail, they strip you of your rights. You have no right to choose like where you're going, what you're doing. You have no right to vote. Like you are no longer a citizen. So when you return, you are a returning citizen, like because you now have your rights back. So you should be able to basically practice those rights. Yeah. So that's the whole like what the bill is built around. Like, I mean, we need to give people a second chance. There's still a long way, a long road to run for this bill, but it's looking pretty good. They have some co-sponsors on it. They have quite a few co-sponsors on it. So it's looking pretty good, like in the process that it's in right now. So we have that to look forward to, and like some equity within the DC scene once they get these legal shops up and running.
Big ups, DC. Keep doing the damn thing, even though that fucking orange is in the White House.
And last but not least, I have to talk about this because I thought this was the rabbit hole I was referring to. Okay. A study of cannabis extract shows antibacterial and antimicrobial components. Mm-hmm. So they used a distilled solvent-based extract, and they used 2 different variations of it. I'm not sure if one was heated. They really didn't go into like the samples like that were used. They just like give you the results. But one showed that active components that really, really helped in the aid of fighting off one of the most widespread bacterias, Streptococcus aureus. Oh. So it helps fight this. And one of them, it was the THC-VA and the CBD-VA that was active in it that helped fight this off. And in the second sample, it was the THC-V and the CBD-V that helped. They are very promising and more than likely going to become like just a new and exciting use for antibacterial agents just because of the availability of the plant at this moment in time. So within the next 5 years, there's a good chance we could start seeing neosporin cannabis, neosporin CBD, or whatever, because the bacteria that it fights is one of the most widespread viruses in the world. It's estimated that 20 to 30% of human population are long-term carriers of Streptococcus aureus, which can be found in a part of your skin, your nostrils, some women's reproductive tracts. It's the cause for pimples. It could be the cause for pneumonia, meningitis. It's kind of like the start of something. Like it could form into a lot of different things. So the ability within the last 20 years, to fight infection has become more and more limited as those bacteria become more and more resistant to the medicines that we're using now. So it's really, really crazy. This is a big find. It may seem like very small, like
no, it's fucking
a
dope.
very small thing in the headlines. There's probably like 20 states in the headlines right now for some type of legalization. Yeah, cannabis, hemp, whatever. But this is big fucking news. Like this is big news. This is life saving.
Yeah.
And this is possibly the saving grace for a couple cannabis companies that are fucking failing right now. You might want to start extracting THCV, CBDV, THCVA, and CBDVA, because this is going to be money in the bank for later on.
Yeah. You know, when you start doing it, tell them we sent you. Okay?
I know, right? You're welcome.
Put us on the resume. Okay?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. No, but for real, in a hospital setting, a lot of the times it's secondary infection that you end up with getting sick at the hospital. So you went in for one thing, but you end up dying for complications of other things. Like your immune system becomes compromised, and things like strep that you normally may be able to fight off or minimize to a certain fashion fuck you up.
and it's the leading cause for secondary infection within a hospital setting. So we now have something that is new and very effective to fight that.
Cannabis walked into every industry and was like, so what's up?
Just threw something on the table. It's like, and looked at everybody like, you're welcome. You know what I mean? Walked out.
Seizures, we got you. Cancer, you still been looking for the answer? Bow, we got you. So, all right then. Let's take a quick break.
The Baker's Man Collective presents.
Welcome back. And now, one of my favorite parts of the day, Terp Talks. Terps be talking. These terps are talking to you. What are they saying? Let me tell you what the terps are saying. All right. And today's terp is caffeine.
Oh.
Caffeine is very popular outside of the world of cannabis. Everybody pretty much in this world that I know has had some type of that is a beautiful joint though. I do love how the joints are rolled. Everybody has some type of camphor in their house, Vicks Vapor Rub, things of that nature, Tiger Balm. Everything has a little bit of camphor in it. Caffeine is also present in cannabis, and it's very similar to a myrcene. It has more of like almost like a minty feel to it though. But you do get that woody, earthy, and sometimes like a skunky type of presence when you have camphor in cannabis. Camphor oil is where caffeine is present mostly and abundantly, and it was used for a fuel during the Civil War, but it's known to be very explosive. A couple things that I came across, while searching caffeine, because now that I've done the more known terpenes, I'm starting to get into the lesser known terpenes, and it involves a lot more research because there's not as much readily available information about these things. So now when I start to dive in deeper, like I get into like the history of something like this, and it's like this is fucking crazy. It's been used for food additive. It's used in skincare, as everybody knows. Known things are relaxing, anti-inflammatory, and antimicrobial, I believe.
Yeah, that makes
sense. Things that camphor is known for.
Witch hazel and shit is probably up in there.
Yep. That's the terps that's talking today.
I love how that terp talks. I've been addicted to Vicks Vapor Rub since I was a child.
Um, so one strand that I know for a fact that it has to be in would be peppermint agave, which we both share a love. Yeah, that mintiness that you get, like that would be like a camphor.
Oh my goodness, that shit was so fire. The memories.
Yeah, Inflow's a seller. They
Yeah.
have like some really good strands, and the flavor profile is pretty wide.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Surface Heat Genetics. They got some fucking gas.
All right then. Well, I think it's time for the next segment. Light up and listen.
Light up and listen.
Mm.
Light up and listen. All right, what are your choices?
YG, My Life, 400. That shit was. Listen, I disagree with him a lot of the times, but his attitude. I like West Coast rap. I love Southern rap. Like that's my heart. But West Coast rap got like a attitude to it that I can vibe with.
I hear you. I hear you.
And he always has a banging ass track. He has one, I think, Dissing the Cops, and I appreciate it. It's one for the culture.
Yeah, he like for somebody whose mentality is like so far out there, like he is tapped into like what's happening right now. Like he has a couple like big tracks. Like he made "Fuck Donald Trump" like well before Donald Trump got in office.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the thing about him, the thing that I fuck with YG about, and this might sound like fucking crazy, but he's a Pisces. I'm a Pisces, so I feel like I mean, even though his like the way we think and the way we move obviously is like way fucking different. I understand him. I at the core, like I know he's just an emotional motherfucker. I mean, that needs a hug sometimes. I mean, like I get you, IG, and I fuck with
you. All right, and also Reason, who's a new TDE artist. Again, weird. Both my choices were West Coast rap, but he dropped his first, I think, album called New Beginning. And I fuck with it. TDE has my heart. So
he's been in the on the scene, like I mean, in the background doing his things here and there. He's had a couple like appearances and shit, but like I definitely have to check that out. I know I heard the single that has a couple good features on it. I can't remember the name of it right now, but this was like the toughest choice for me to make when it comes to Light Up and Listen. Like I had so many choices because there's so much dope shit that just dropped.
Facts. I haven't been mad.
My choices for Light Up and Listen would be, first and foremost, Benny the Butcher, Burden of Proof. You know how I am with Griselda. I fuck with Griselda forever and always. And they've been dropping hot shit consistently. And I feel like Benny's kind of been like the anchor for the crew, getting people's ear to be able to fucking listen to Conway. Like, I mean, like after I listened to Benny and I learned he was a part of a bigger group, I was like, I gotta listen to all these niggas. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like that's how it is for a lot of people. And the Burden of Proof, the features are insane. The tracks fucking tight. I think it's an instant classic. Like, and that's just my personal opinion.
I definitely saw that, and I was like, I think Keith likes this guy. As I saw when I was scrolling, I'm gonna give it a listen.
Yeah, that shit's hard. That shit's hard. I fuck with Griselda.
All right, what's next?
Black Thought. Now, so the thing about Black Thought is he knows what I need to hear when I don't even know I need to hear it. You feel me? So this is Streams of Thought 3 that he just dropped. And every single one has been like I found a track or something within that album that connected to me on a personal level and a deep level. And Black Thought is probably one of the most poetic, delicately, strongly written artists like that we have to date in my personal opinion. And this nigga, he has a track on there with Pusha T, and I feel like they found some type of working ground. They fuck with each other's flow, but you can hear it in the music. Okay. This is the third project from the two of them that's come out that has had a track with, you know what I mean, that other person on it. Okay. So definitely give that shit a listen. Definitely give the Pusha T track a listen. Like that, in my opinion, is like some of the strongest hip hop that we have right now.
All right. Well, I guess honorable mentions. It didn't start for me with Dogface, the internet sensation homie that was skateboarding to Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac been had my heart, but I have to give it to them. I've been bumping it a little bit more regularly since I saw that clip. And when you listen to Dreams, you get to start, feeling some kind of way. So shout out to Fleetwood Mac, whose sales is probably jumping right now.
They need to hit my man Dogface off for some bread. You know what I mean? He got a GoFundMe up. He's trying to get his family into a house and shit. So I feel like if they're jumping in streams, they need to break that man off for real, for real.
Yeah. Do something.
My honorable mentions. Well, first I want to say the Rock Nation album that just dropped. And it's just basically a Rock Nation reprise. It's all Rock Nation artists, and it's pretty solid. I think it's dope as fuck.
How did I miss it? That's a fucking...
Yeah. And there's some good listens out there. Last but not least, like I had to save this. Like, I didn't listen to the album yet, but it probably would have made one of my choices. Like, I probably would have had to put 3 choices up there. But Jay Electronica. So this is the thing about the album. It's an album that is 10 years old. Mm-hmm. He made it 10 years ago. It never dropped. They had it in the vault. They were supposed to drop it. Somebody leaked it. He rushed to drop. So now we have some dope-ass music from Jay Electronica that oddly sounds like, from the one track that I did listen to, like something that is very current, but it was made 10 years ago. Mind you, this man is a musical fucking genius. He's the only person that could drop off the scene for as long as he did, and people fucking lose their shit when he comes back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and actually care and actually want to listen. And the hip hop is a very, very fickle industry. The hip hop fans are very, very fickle fans. Like, so to be able to drop off the scene and come back like that, and everybody be like, like, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? And we now have a second album.
Yes. And not just fickle, they're greedy. Like, you give me something every year. Every year, give me something. The way y'all be badgering Rihanna, like, leave her alone. The girl is making money elsewhere, okay? Well, it's dope. You took the time to have a J with us.
Shit, I forgot what I was supposed to say.
Until the next session. Remember.
Oh, no, you supposed to say that.
Out here trying to bring light and truth about cannabis. I just did it so we could be done.
Well, they could patch that shit in. They could use one of the older ones. Tell them to use one of the older ones I was seeing.
Or just keep this because it's funny.